Hey guys, so I made 10 sandwiches, and that was actually a whole loaf of bread. I figured I don't want to drop 20 sandwiches all in one sitting, right? Because I don't know how the sandwiches will last more than 2 days or so. But we'll see. Anyway, the exciting news is that so I found a person online who said that they work at a bakery and they wanted to lessen the amount of stuff that's going into their dumpster because their bakery gets rid of a lot of pastries. So this is like oat bars and scones and cakes and things like that. They were trying to find people, however, the quantity of stuff that they had, it goes upwards of like 20 pounds. Yeah. And I found out they actually live nearby. So today I told them that I would be interested in helping out with transporting it. Yeah, it's crazy. Um, but I also need to bag all this stuff individually. I'm kind of curious and I want to show you guys how much stuff can get thrown away from one single bakery because it's unsold stuff. I think it's really, I don't know, I find it interesting. All this stuff will be going off to the local community fridge, and that is, I think that's really, a good way of brightening people's day. I think that's the best way for me to describe it. It's problematic because it's like if you have like that kind of quantity, it's hard to unload it off to one person, right? You figure out like if you're an employee and at the end of the day you have stuff and you can't, it's hard to coordinate because there's different times, right? There's different times you might have different amounts, you might not have anything, and there's like a logistics side of it. So yeah, I offered to do it today. We'll see how it works, and it's gonna be contactless pickup. So I'm just gonna have like a bag of stuff. I don't know what's gonna be inside. I don't know how many pounds it's gonna be. Lois is gonna take me over there, and I'm gonna grab this whole. I think it's gonna probably be in a garbage bag, most likely. I'm gonna feel like Santa Claus full of sugar. We'll see how it is though. Is bread a fridge a good idea? Yeah, I've seen people drop off sandwiches over there. Sometimes, like, I've seen people drop off these cheese sandwiches, and I understand the gesture behind it. But when I look at it, I'm like, man, it's just like white bread with a single slice of Kraft singles cheese, and that's it. And another piece of white bread. I wanted to do a little bit more with my sandwiches, so I put a peanut butter and banana. I want to add jelly to it. After I made all these sandwiches, I realized it's like a little dry. I did try one sandwich. It needs some sort of jelly in there. I don't know what flavor of jelly I should get. I'm thinking maybe strawberry, but give me a suggestion about what you guys think I could use for in terms of jelly or jam or curd. I don't know. Yeah. Earlier they were telling people that they wanted to unload like 30 pounds of pastries, and all these people were interested in it. But the thing is that I don't know if I think they were kind of hesitant because if you give off 30 pounds of pastries to a person, do they have a place to unload it? Like for instance, if someone gave me 30 pounds of pastries and I have no place to put it, it's all gonna go bad. That's why I'm planning to put it in a community fridge. And if it can't fit all in one community fridge, then I'll drop it off to another community fridge. And maybe I'll even drop it off to the produce community fridge because I'll be like, it's just too many freaking pastries. We'll see. We'll see. I might have like a big bag of stuff. Maybe it'll be a small container. Who knows what it's gonna be? But I imagine it's probably gonna be a sizable amount. Yeah. So let me see what the overview was. I asked them for a list. I want to label each one. I know I was posting on Discord, and I think JP gave me a suggestion of buying bags from Uline. They sell about 1,000 glassine bags. I think that's what you call it. It's the, you know, the white paper bags that you get for baked goods sometimes that's kind of semi-translucent, but not really. They sell 1,000 of them for about $34. And I figure, hey, that sounds like a really good deal because it comes out to about 3 cents for one. And I'll have it shipped over here. And yeah, I don't know. I think it will take me quite some time to get through 1,000 bags, don't you think? That's gonna be a whole freaking lot of pastry. I don't want to use plastic bags. I was watching this documentary about plastic waste. We have too much freaking plastic in the environment. And Lewis told me that he notices now when he drives around, he sees so much plastic. So we're both trying to reduce the amount of plastic that's going on in our life. This is paper, as you guys can see. This is the stuff that I used originally to wrap his burritos. And I'm reusing it for a sandwich. So the way I wrapped it is you kind of flap it over here. And then you fold it. And then you kind of just go like that. Ta-da! And then it kind of has a flap over there. And that's why I say lift. Yeah, we'll see. So, what I can expect possibly, they didn't update me about the current one. I think they're still at work, that's why, so they can't tell me. But it might be something like, you know, muffins, brownies, bagels, scones, danishes. It's just a freaking lot of stuff. I don't even know if I have. I mean, like, I think I'm gonna really have to buy some bags after this one because, yeah, it's just. I have like about 80 of these ones left. I don't know how heavy all this baked goods is, but I wouldn't be surprised if I ran out of little paper bags, paper little things, flappy things to do. We'll see. It's just a lot of stuff. It's crazy how much baked stuff is on there. Yeah. And I think it's really important to share. Really, really important. Um, I promised them that after I individually packed, I dropped it off at community fridge. I'll send them a picture, and that way they can send people who are interested in this stuff directly to the community fridge, and that way people can take exactly what they want. Versus people being all interested in these baked goods, but they have to take a 30-pound bag. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So this way it's a lot better. And yeah, it's. Oreo, what are you doing, you fat cat? Oh, yeah. Would you mail me one? Andrea, where are you located though? I don't think sandwiches or baked goods last that long. That's the problem. I think it would only be good for like 2-3 days. I've been known to eat pastries that I leave in the fridge for like a week later. The bad thing is that I don't want to go to the community fridge and find out they just restocked and I have like 10 pounds of baked goods on me and I think, oh crap, I have to unload this somewhere, and I have, you know, the community fridge I wanted to go to was packed. Sometimes it does get packed. However, I notice that nowadays it's looking a little bare. When they do restock it, things are gone as little as 1 hour. Yeah. I've dropped off some things, and then later on I see that they post on their Instagram, and they say that, you know, the whole fridge was fully stocked and it was cleared out very, very quickly. Because there's a lot of people who live in that area, right? And if you live nearby, or especially if you live across the street of all things, you could see all these people like packing it into a fridge, and then you can watch it like a hawk. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, GP. Thank you. So I did do the Sharpie thing. Oh, I forgot to date this one. Whoops, this one doesn't have a date. But I tried to date it as well. That way people don't think it's been there for about 5 days or so. 8, 9. I'll probably drop this off later in the evening. And then the pastries I'll pick up today. Most likely I'll drop it off tomorrow. I'll drop at least some of it off tomorrow. I don't know how big the quantity is. I don't know if I have enough things on me, so I might have to go shopping just specifically for bags tomorrow. But it's really, really exciting, and I'm happy to kind of reduce the amount of food waste going into a dumpster and then be able to redistribute it to people. I strongly suggest that if people do have the capability of having a community fridge in their neighborhood, then have one. I don't know how much it costs for having a community fridge is. I don't know if it's legal in some areas. New York, I think there's about 6 or 8 of them right now. Yeah, and then there's at least one in Jersey. Yeah, it's a really good thing. People come and drop things off, or they take whatever they want. Some of the stuff that comes in, it's from Trader Joe's, so it's like I know that there's at least a few individuals who are picking things up from Trader Joe's and then directly bringing it over to the community fridge. Yeah, it's like a food exchange, but you don't have to. You can take whatever you want. You don't have to give anything. But when you see that kind of stuff, it kind of encourages you. Hey, make sure that this is self-sustaining, because if everyone just takes and nobody gives, then you're just gonna have a bare fridge, and yeah, people are not going to want to visit it or contribute to it. So it's very, very important to always keep it well stocked, in my opinion. There are going to be some people who do probably clean out the fridge, or um, I know there's at least one person who does that, right? That's just statistically. If something is like fully packed and then it's gone in an hour, yeah, it's either everybody's going over there or there's one person who's taking multiple things. And if you just keep taking multiple and multiple and multiple and not putting everything back, then boom, you end up with the empty fridge. Yesterday, when Lewis and I visited to drop off some tomatoes, I looked inside and I saw something like not emergency food, but you remember yeah, it's kind of like food that's distributed by New York City. I don't want to call it. I want to call it like low income slash if you have students in school, that way they have their meals. That sort of food. I've noticed a few packs inside of there, and that's a good thing, because sometimes I see those kind of emergency food rations or the supplemental food, the actual meals now. I see it just sitting on the street, and it sickens me when I see that kind of stuff. I remember I saw this one whole pack. It had about 6 meals in there. Typically, this stuff has like chicken in it. It has fish in there. I've seen salmon. Yeah, salmon in there. They have things like honey mustard chicken or beef stew, lemon tilapia. What else? Some kind of citrus salmon, actual like salmon fillet pieces in there. And if someone just like tosses it or they don't even open it, it's such a freaking waste of food. So I hope that people, if they have food that they don't want or they can't use, then just drop it off at a community fridge, because someone else could use it or someone else can take it. Yeah, I've heard about that. I've heard about that. I don't think this kind of stuff would happen in Hawaii. I think someone's going to be concerned about, hey, what if there's how often is the fridge getting cleaned, and blah blah blah, and oh, if it's passed by the best by date. Best by or sell by is not the same as it being rotten, okay? It's the food is not at what they consider to be the optimal freshness or quality. I've bought like cakes, for instance, and I've had it sitting in the fridge for like 5 days just because I can't get through the whole thing. So I'm not, that concerned about it. But for health department or people who are sticklers for dates, then yes, that could be concerning. I have seen some things that were past date, but it's up to that person. Do they want to take it or do they want to just toss it? And I know someone is clearing out the fridge, because sometimes I see some stuff that looks kind of suspicious and then it's gone from the fridge. So there is people who are uptaking that fridge, and it's several organizations. But this is a really, really good idea, and I really like it. I was telling Lewis that if we do move out of New York, I do want to help out with the food distribution somehow. Because I think it's really important. I don't know if I would not mind, and I don't know his stance on it. I wouldn't mind that if we lived in a house somewhere that we had a community fridge. on the property, and that way people could take what they want and things like that. It's a way of giving back, and I don't think that having a community fridge would really put you at risk of danger or people loitering. I've seen the community fridges around the neighborhood. People take what they want, or they drop off things and then they just immediately go after. There's no people congregating in front of a fridge, waiting for hours for people to come by. It's a very respectful place. People just take what they want, and then they say a few words to people, and then they go. I mean, few words of friendliness. I don't know if it makes you liable. I have no idea how it works. I think that if you have, I think maybe part of it is maybe it's umbrellaed under an organization. I'm not too sure. Or maybe because it's free, right? It's like take whatever you want and you're not considered liable for it since there's no money transaction. I don't know how that goes. I don't know how that goes, but as far as I know, they said that they only got the overwhelming feedback for the community fridges is positive. However, they did have one person who complained to the Department of Health or something over it. I have heard of liability lawsuits where, for instance, let's say a restaurant gave food directly to a homeless person, they can be sued for that. And I forgot the exact details of it, but I remember reading about it, and the restaurant did have to pay thousands of dollars in legal fees. Mm. Anyway, I'm gonna get going. Later on, we're gonna drop this off. I don't know how we're gonna do this. I don't know if we're gonna drop this stuff. I think we're gonna drop this stuff off at the community fridge and then pick up the pastries. Yeah. And then we go home. I show you guys what the pastries are, and then I bag them, and then tomorrow I will put them out at the community fridge. This is one of those times where having a bike is really, really handy. Yeah, so Emily, there's a person that is who works at a bakery, and the bakery has a lot of food waste because you know how these bakeries go, right? You don't want a customer to come in and then you tell them sorry we're out of this or sorry we're out of that. It it doesn't really incentivize people to come back to the store. They just, if you wanted to buy, let's say, a Danish, and they tell you, oh yeah, sorry, we're sold out of Danishes. You might think, ah, screw this place. I don't want to buy a Danish here again because, well, I might not have a Danish. So it's very important for a lot of these places to always have food and never run out of food. Another example is like a buffet, right? Can you imagine if a buffet in Las Vegas ran out of food, how pissed off people would be? So they always make sure they have a good supply of food, or at least overage in a sense. And whatever they can't sell, they will typically toss it or donate it. Now, for donating it, it sounds simple, but it does require logistics. So you have to coordinate with someone or an organization and tell them, okay, I have this to pick up and it's going to be ready for you to pick up by X amount of time. Depending on what it is or how much quantity it is, maybe you don't have the employee power to pack all this stuff, depending on the food, right? So it's easier just to toss it. So imagine like a buffet. If someone's going to have to put all this food out into like containers and then keep them in the fridge until that organizer or this volunteer comes and picks it up, and maybe the restaurant doesn't want to deal with it, so it's just easier to dump it. That way they just dump it, they don't have to do any coordination of sorts. For this bakery, they have overage. Last time I heard it was like over 20 pounds of stuff. And someone who worked there was saying that, yeah, they have all this stuff and they want to they want to make sure it doesn't go into a landfill directly, but they don't have a place to unload it. And I guess they don't really have transportation either. So, they were telling people about it, and a lot of people showed interest in this like Santa Claus bag of goodies. But as you know, typically people like you and me, we're not going to go through like over 20 pounds of pastries. So I reached out to them and I told them about the community fridges. I let them know that, hey, I live by a community fridge. I don't mind, picking it up as long as it's not like obscenely overweight. Yeah, I need a balance on the bike, um, not like 40 pounds of pastry or anything like that. But if I can pick it up, then I don't mind taking it home, packaging it individually, and then labeling it if I can. I don't know. Some of this stuff I just look at it like, what the hell is this? um, and then sending them a picture of it at the community fridge, and that way they can direct the people who were interested in those pastries. Like if someone wanted a muffin and they don't want to take 20 pounds of muffins or potential bag of 20 pounds of muffins, they can just go to the community fridge and specifically take what they need. And then maybe they will drop something off. But if they don't, oh well, at least it's food rescued from the dumpster. And in the sense that it didn't go into the dumpster. If people didn't pick it up or if an employee didn't put it off on the side, then it would be going directly into a landfill. Yeah. The crazy thing I've seen, and I told you guys that I'm going to be going on a freegan food tour and sometime next week. I think it's like 1.5 weeks from now or so. I want to videotape this stuff for you. I've heard that bagel shops are notorious for having like a whole trash bag full of bagels. And that makes sense because when I work at that food distribution event, when we get bagels, they're in a giant contractor bag. We're talking like one of those contract, I think it's like 40 gallons or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? Like the really, really big contractor bag size, just full of bagels. It's crazy. But these bagel places, like someone mentioned here, it's so low cost to make that if they can, if they'll just produce an overage rather than risk losing a customer. So I want to see how it is, and I'm planning to. I cannot film for the food tour. I really really can't. I wish I could, but it's due to privacy reasons. There are some people who are freegans or who are going to be on that tour, and they primarily just eat uh, food from that's put out from places, right? So you might have like prepackaged sandwiches from Starbucks or Panera or something like that. And these people don't want to be on camera, and I completely understand it. Some people, they could be really embarrassed by being seen or documented looking through a trash bag. For me, I don't really care. I think after you work at a food pantry and you work at food distribution, you're like, okay, I've seen all the dented vegetables and I've seen, the dented cans and I've seen the bagels in trash bag. I'm pretty much immune to it. Yeah. So I want to rescue some sandwiches or prepackaged clamshell styled or sealed stuff and then drop it off at a community fridge. So this stuff that I'm picking up today, it's directly from a bakery, and then the employee is putting it together, and I'll be picking up from the employee. So it's not coming, out of a dumpster or anything like that. And then I also, depending on how much stuff it is, I want to regularly do this because I think it's a good thing. There are some people who might be looking at the community fridges and maybe they could use a little pick me up brownie or something like that. That's the way I see it. That's why I like sweet stuff sometimes because it kind of sweetens my day. Definitely, not an obscene amount, right? I think it'll bring some happiness to people. Whoops. No, it's not out of a dumpster. I want to ask them like if it's too inconvenient for them to give it to me, if they can like keep it outside of the rush, keep it outside or something like that, and by a designated time, and then I can pick it up from them directly, rather than them having to transport it home. But I don't know what specific bakery this is. I don't know how far away it is. It has to be kind of sizable though, because they are what's it? They are taking the train, the subway. No, Andrea, if you see any of those like dumpster diving things from New York, there's just bakeries just full, the dumpster is just full of bagels. So many freaking bagels. I don't know. Maybe I'll. I don't know. I don't think Lewis is going to be open to it, but I wouldn't mind driving to a bakery and then opening the dumpster if I can, and then showing you guys what's inside. Like, yeah, okay, this is all going to go to the dumpster. Sad too, because a lot of people could definitely, use some bagels. But it's not. And also the other thing too that I forgot to mention. One of the reasons why in New York they don't mark down stuff is, and I've seen it in Hawaii, but I don't really see it in New York. I found out that for grocery stores in particular, let's say you have some cookies, right? And it's expiring in a month. If you were to pull out all the expiring cookies and then mark it down, it might cannibalize the sale for the full price stuff, right? So if who would want to buy like $4 cookies when you see it on sale 50% off at $2? People are going to buy the $2 one and just eat it immediately. It takes employee labor to specifically label each one and input it in the computer if they have a computer. So it's more cost efficient for someone or for a place to just say, okay, bag it all up, throw it in the dumpster. We're going to write all those cookies that are expiring in a month as a loss. And that way, when they receive a new shipment, they can just automatically put it on the shelf and not have to deal with shelf space because 50% off cookies are still on the shelf. I understand it. I completely understand it. There are big companies who do donate to organizations. Whole Foods is one, Trader Joe's is one that I've noticed. I can't say about other places because I don't see their branding on it. I don't see anything from like Aldi's. I don't see any like Key Foods brands. I just see, for donated stuff, I just see Trader Joe's and Whole Foods that I recognize. And I think there's a lot of places that when if like they're smaller grocery stores, if they're not coordinating, naturally they're just going to throw it in a dumpster. They might not want to even give it to their employees, because I remember reading something along the lines of allegedly Starbucks, they were allowing people to take food home. So let's say you have banana bread and at the end of the night you have a few pieces left, right? Let's say you have like 2 loaves left. When they allowed people to take things home, there might be a few people who say, hey, let's make sure that we have 3 loaves left, or let's over order, or let's make sure that we have more loaves left, and that way we can take it home. So when you have a few individuals kind of gaming the system, and it leads to increased wastage, naturally management is going to lock down because they don't want to see increased losses. And if you see like a pattern here, then it's just going to cost them more money. That's why employees they don't get to take home like free chickens or free rotisserie chickens or free food from a restaurant, because they don't want they don't want cooks to make more food, and that way employees take home free food. The owners don't want that. That's what I'm saying. It makes sense. It really makes sense to me. I didn't think about it that way until I was reading about certain rules or why they have these kind of rules in place. One person in particular, I think they shared on an online forum because I was looking up food waste. They said that there was a time that they were going hungry, and they were working at a restaurant, and this restaurant had like tons of rotisserie chickens left at the end of the night. They were looking at the chickens, and they asked the manager in charge, "Hey, can I have a chicken? Because you guys are just throwing it away." And the manager said, "Sorry, we just throw them away." And then one day they were alone with the manager. Nobody, I guess it was a late shift or something like that. And then they told the manager that they wanted food. They wanted to take home the chicken. And then the manager said, basically, I would give it to you if I could, but basically, but rules are rules. And the whole idea behind that is that if you allow one person to take home things, then maybe it causes other people to take home things. And next thing you know, instead of throwing away 20 chickens a day, you're throwing away 30 chickens a day. And the owners of that restaurant won't be happy, right? If they see, hey, why are we spending more money on food waste? Whoops. So anyway, I'm gonna get going. I will talk to you guys later. Leave me a suggestion in the comments what you guys would suggest for sandwich. I'm thinking like peanut butter, strawberry jam, banana. I only stick with the peanut butter and banana in the sandwich because I know every week there seems to be a big surplus of bread, lots of bread, and bananas. So if I have bread and bananas as the constant over here, then peanut butter and jelly or jam should probably go naturally with it because the peanut butter serves as some protein, right? Yeah. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think of my little sandwiches or what improvements I can make to it. I'm adding cinnamon on there. I was thinking about adding honey, but I was like, I don't know, it's not vegan if I do that. And I was thinking about adding agave syrup, but I did hear that it can spike your glycemic index up even more. Like it can spike it up, and I was like, I don't know if that's true or not, but I heard that. I was like, I don't know about that either. I don't want people having like lots of sugar in them over my little sandwich. And I don't like that syrup anyway, to be honest with you guys. I like honey more. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.